Segment 3, Gold and Black Live, joined by legendary Purdue men's basketball player Chris Kramer. And Chris will join us for this segment, and we'll talk a lot of Purdue basketball. He'll be in Mackey Arena tonight when Purdue takes on number 2 Alabama. Chris, you played. There's been a lot of reference to the Duke game you play in terms of the biggest non-conference games in Mackey Arena history. This is certainly one of them. Hard to minimize that. But to talk about what that feeling is as going into a game like this, and how you view the Boilermakers' opportunity tonight.
This is a huge game. It's a huge measuring stick kind of see where where you are at this point in the season. And the great thing about this is it's only going to help Purdue moving forward, win or loss. Hopefully they win. But, they're going to learn a lot about themselves tonight. And I think that's the biggest thing. Games like this against Marquette, some of the tournaments that they played in, especially last year, all of those games that they had really helped them late in the season, especially the NCAA tournament. And, this game is no different. Going into a game like this, it can kind of go two ways. Like you can be overly hyped. The crowd's going to be electric. It's going to be crazy in Mackey Arena tonight. And that can kind of, you can be overhyped and kind of in the first 2 minutes just, take your tank from full to empty and then try to get that second wind, or, the ball goes in and, everything's going, the way you want it to, and, the roof blows off, so it can kind of go one or two ways. You got to try to find that happy medium, between being, overly jacked up and then, just being a bump on a log, but try to be that even keel, even though it's really hard going into games like this.
Yeah, Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer have been around. They're in their third year, obviously, have been in all types of environments. Is it a case is also, if you're a junior or senior leader like you were in your day, now you had guys that were a year younger than you that were a big part of what you guys were able to accomplish with Etuan and Robbie and Jawan Johnson. But what do you say to the guys that are freshmen, like you said, the Raleigh Burgesses of the world that are going to have their first real taste of this? It's that even keel message, I assume, but maybe easier to say and harder to do.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's going to be, your talk is going to be cheap. You can't prepare them for this. It's going to have to be, they're going to get thrown into the fire. And, how are you going to respond? And, all these guys have played in big games, in great environments, depending, but it's not going to be Mackey Arena. So, when you come into games like this, especially as a freshman, a big time game, against a team that's number 2 in the country, you got to go in and just do what you do. Right? Like, don't try to be a hero. Don't try to do anything. If you're in there to set screens and rebound, then set great screens and rebound the basketball. If you're in there to make shots, take great shots, live with the consequence if it doesn't go in. But everybody that comes into the game, their first instinct needs to be to give it all, play as hard as they can, try to take the crowd out of it mentally, and just lay it on the line, and then you'll get into the flow. But if you start thinking about the crowd, you get overwhelmed by it, then you might be hearing that buzzer and you might be coming out way quicker than you wanted to.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, you are, you look back at Matt Painter's legacy or tenure at Purdue, I should say. Nobody played a bigger part in that growth after in your freshman year, you lead a team, team to the NCAA, get Matt to his first NCAA appearance. But talk about now the evolution of this program. It's in a different place than it was when you first got there, but you were so responsible for changing that culture. But talk about how you see that program under Coach Matt Painter and how he's evolved as a head coach over time.
It's crazy, to be honest. All the stuff that we used to do, they definitely don't do anymore. But that's kind of how the games, evolved and Coach Painter's evolved. So it's been really cool to watch, even though I'm a little bit salty on this side of it now. But no, it's been really great to see. When I came in, with Coach Painter is, that first recruiting class, we were not very good. But we were able to kind of get in the NCAA tournament and get the ball rolling. And then, we passed the baton, and, the baton kept getting passed. There was a couple lull years there in between, in like the teens. But, where they are now is crazy. And it's all credit to Coach Painter and his staff. I think he does a great job of delegating responsibilities and putting trust into everyone and letting them kind of flourish in their roles while still, obviously being the head coach. His evolution offensively is amazing. The sets they run are incredible. Talk about the play to end the half last game against Yale. Like a pistol kick ahead, a fake handoff, knowing that Braden wasn't going to, gain a lot of attention, in a Fletcher 3. Just little wrinkles in all of these plays that he has. It's been really awesome to watch, and he's recruited amazing. I love that he doesn't care what people are ranked. He recruits for the fit instead of, the ranking. And, he's proved a bunch of people wrong by how people's careers have went, where people have played, after Purdue. So, the evolution of Coach Painter and the evolution of this program to where they were now, and, with Zach last year where he took them, has been truly remarkable and just amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's all about being able to adjust and change the times. He's done that, but never compromise his principles as a coach. That is certainly clear. All right, you had a couple of experiences playing Alabama, different situations, but still, what really the game I believe it would have been your junior year there in Alabama. You guys got out to a big lead and then got way behind, and Valley back from a 16-point deficit, as I think if I looked it up this morning. You had a big part of that. What do you remember from that game? Because you guys were dead in the water in the midway mark of the second half, it appeared, down in Tuscaloosa.
I remember, I think Mark Ingram
won the Heisman, right?
Called the Heisman that night, and it was electric in there. Their student section had pictures of guys from like Halloween, and I mean they had everything. They were ready. We did play pretty well at the beginning, and then the wheels kind of fell off, and luckily we were able to, through defense, we were able to get back into the game and come back and win. Was able to get 3 or 4 steals, I think, late in that second half to kind of push us, and then other guys made a bunch of plays as well. It reminds me of that Jimmy Dykes quote. I think it was bigger than you, faster than you, quicker than you, wants it more than you, I think is what he said. After the last steal to kind of like secure the game. Which is really cool as somebody that's listened to Jimmy bunch. But that was an amazing game. It was a great atmosphere. But it all starts, and it's going to start like that tonight. It's got to be defense, right? Like defense is going to, we got to be able to keep them out of the paint. We got to guard the 3, and then we got to get the basketball. The way we play defense, when I played, the way they play defense now is, a little bit different, but, those 3 things are all going to be the same.
And certainly rebounding a key too. And obviously Braden Smith does a great job as a guard rebounding, as you did. He's a little bit shorter than you, but he has long arms. But talk about just that whole team rebounding. I mean, it seems tonight with Alabama's extremely its length in every position, really, maybe with the exception of Mark Sears, and that length doesn't necessarily matter for him. He can just fill it up. Talk about that in terms of just that tenacity of, again, the rebounding and getting in the flow of that.
Yeah, they're averaging, I think, 13 more rebounds a game than us. Yeah. We're giving up an average of 11 offensive rebounds a game.
Yeah, can't do that.
That's a huge stat in this game. Something to look at as the game goes on. If we get up 11 rebounds tonight, we're probably not going to win. those offensive rebounds are going to be easy putbacks or fouls for Alabama, or the best shot in basketball, kick out three. The last thing we need is, say we have Mark Sears under control, an offensive rebound, wide open three, really get some confidence and get going. That's what we need. So, it's got to be a rebound by committee. I did a preview, and, what I said was the bigs got to create space. They got to get Cliff Moore. They got to get Grant Nelson. They got to create that space with those bigs. The guards got to check out, pick up the flight of the ball. Then everybody has to go get it. Nobody can leak out until we secure the basketball. Once we secure the basketball, it's off to the races. But if we don't secure the basketball, then everybody's got to stay in there.
Yeah, no doubt. When you look at, I always ask guys that went through so much, and you guys obviously had opportunities, and we're a team that we're definitely capable of making the Final Four. Didn't get there, but what was your reaction? This is somewhat of a rhetorical question, but when Purdue beat Tennessee and was heading to the Final Four, what went through your mind in terms of what that experience was for you as a player, and now to see it finally happen for Coach Matt Painter?
And I was in Florida. I was on spring break. We were heading to dinner, and I'm watching the game on my phone, and I was, once it got real, that final buzzer, I was like, "Let's go!" And our friend that was driving, was like, what just happened? I was like, "We're going to the Final Four." Yeah. So the excitement was real, and excited for the guys, especially with 2 years ago everything ended, to come back and fight all of that adversity and fight it head on, and then come back and get to that national championship game. That was amazing. It was great for Zach. Is he the best player in Purdue history? Debatable, it's very debatable.
Hard to go against him. Yeah.
But I was most excited for Coach Painter. To get that kind of monkey off his back. He's had some bad luck in certain situations, and but that's the NCAA tournament. That's basketball, and I'm just really happy that they got that kind of the monkey off their back and they were able to get there. But I hope it's not forever again. Yeah. I think he's on the right path. He's got the right coaches around him, recruiting the right players, and hopefully it's a thing that we can get kind of accustomed to.
Yeah, no doubt. When you evaluate, and obviously still stay very close to the game, and we'll talk about some of the ways that you do that as well. But Jakari Harris, CJ Cox, really interesting young guys. You were at that age once, and again in a starting role as a true freshman. Who will ever forget the shot from the knees against Arizona in the NCAA tournament? My children won't. We know we were on a spring break trip when that happened. But talk about those two guys and what you see out of them. They seem to be – they're cut a little bit out of the Chris Kramer cloth in terms of their desire to play defense from the get-go. But what do you see from both those guys?
Yeah, I think, they are definitely cut from that same cloth. And, it's very refreshing. I love watching those guys play. They're very aggressive defensively. But, they have some room to make some strides as well. I think last game, with Jakari just, chasing off the ball. I forget the guy's name from Yale, the lefty that was just an assassin.
Just call him the Greek assassin. Yeah. I can never pronounce the name, but he was terrific. Yes, they were a good team.
He was hitting some unreal shots, but, just losing some, separation and things like that. And those are all be things that come with time and experience. But for them, especially, CJ, when he gets in and he's picking up full court, he's right there, getting some easy steals. If we can jam the basketball and stop the basketball at the point of the throw in, it's going to help our defense. We're going to take time off the clock. Their point guard's going to get worn out, and it's just going to help us through the long haul of the game. But those guys have been terrific so far. CJ can really shoot the basketball. Got a great pull up. It looks pretty when he shoots it. Yeah. So you think it's going in. Hit some big free throws last game late too. So those guys have been amazing. And I'm excited to watch the evolution as they continue to grow and, grow into their roles on, this team and, start to show more offensively as well.
Yeah, you're going to take it is without Zach Edey in there, and obviously with Daniel Jacobson's injury, this team is still has a lot of really good pieces, and there's no doubt that tonight will be a great barometer in terms of that. All right, I want to ask a little bit about your day job, but also some of the work that you're doing online too, because there's a way that folks can get your opinion and what's going on with Purdue basketball.
Yeah, so I work for Elios Hospice. It's a local hospice company here in Fort Wayne. I do kind of business development, customer service. So I build the relationships or maintain the relationships that we have with nursing facilities, assisted livings, and then I follow up and make sure that we're doing everything we're supposed to do. So that's my day job. But I host basketball camps in the summer.
Yeah.
Sophie, our oldest daughter, is getting to the point where.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
I lost you there for a second. Fire back. You got me about Sophie. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter is getting to the point where she's starting to play some games and stuff. So, going to start coaching there. And then, I'm always, active on X, I guess, during games, point out my opinion on things and what we could do better. So, that's one way that I stay around the game as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and nobody knows basketball better. A homegrown Huntington legend, but also it's in your blood, and you knew it when you saw it, and you lived it for all those years, and that's a big thing. And you have two children, or just one at this point?
Yeah, I have two girls right now, and we're weeks away from having another girl, so I'll be 3 girls. Yep.
That's some form of revenge for you, I think. But how exciting is that? And I'm sure you'll be. And I know that you're a good dad, but also that dad coach thing is always going to be an interesting dynamic, I'm sure. So, what time are you getting in the car to come down today? And will you get down there early enough to be able to talk to some folks before the game?
Yeah, we're leaving about 3:30, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, when Sophie gets back from school, and then we'll get ready and we'll head down there. So. That'll probably put us there. It's probably 2.5 hours or so. So we'll probably get there around 6, but we'll grab a quick bite and then we'll head to the arena and try to get there and, get ready. So I'm very excited about this opportunity for the Boilers tonight, and hopefully they can get it done.
Yeah, nothing like the environment in Mackey Arena, nothing like the anticipation of it when you get in that building. Again, you've been on both sides of it, but a lot of fun. Chris, thanks so much for your time. We enjoyed the interview so much, and always great to get your perspective. If Purdue can play defensively like you did and your teammates did back in 2009 and 2010, it may be a special night in Mackey Arena, but it will not be an easy one, that's for sure. So thanks again.
Hey, thank you.
All right. I want to thank State Farm agent. Trent is myagent.com. We appreciate him and their sponsorship, and Triple X on the Hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. I'm going to guess Chris has been there a time or two during his college days, but they're not open 24 hours anymore, Chris, but you're good from that standpoint, but we appreciate that. Want to also remind you, we'll have a show next week. It'll be game day. Purdue football will be at Michigan State, but we'll have a show next week as well. It'll be a lot of fun with that. Thanks to Madison and Chris back at WLFI. We appreciate them too. So have a great rest of your week, a big sporting weekend, big night in Mackey Arena tonight, and we'll look forward to that. Take care all, and have a great rest of your day.